Boss Mick Bohan. Mick came in as Leinster champions and you go home as Leinster champions. You expected nothing better than the type of battle that you got from me this afternoon, but at least this time you came out on the right side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those systems that's really difficult to break down. It'd be interesting to see how you report on it because, as I said last week, I think the game is at a stage where it needs to be reported on, given an accurate description of what the game was about. But you can see, for anyone that follows ladies football, that system is difficult because you can't break a tackle. If you break a tackle, it's a free. The distance kicks, the girls don't have those to the same degree as the lads. So it becomes a little bit of a game of chess, which is frustrating at times, but they're particularly good at breaking fast and doing damage on the counter. So I'd be looking forward to you reporting on this one.
20 odd minutes before the first score, you find yourself 5 points to 1 up at half time. You expect the rally from them in the second half, which they produce, and then it turns on Hannah's penalty ultimately.
Yeah, well, it was a penalty. So at the end of the day, that's part of the game. I think their goal, their first score from play in the second half was certainly a set play from Emma Troy into Duggan. Great score. The goal seemed to be a switch. I have to look back in it again, but it seemed to be another set play. So there were very well worked moves.
But still, you feel plenty to work on ahead of the start of the All-Ireland series now in a couple of weeks' time.
Look, from our point of view, there was a couple of players probably missing during the National League who would be big players to us, and they came to the fore, or at least some of them came to the fore today. And then, from a point of view of development, we've new players there that we're particularly happy with this year, the likes of Jess Tobin and that, who've just been revelation from a point of view of the best way of defending that you can see. I think our foul count is in single figures, which is incredible. So lots to work on, and yeah, we're happy with that.
And finally, for me, for those young players, a tremendous honour to win their first senior championship medal for Dublin, alongside so many players who have so many brilliant experiences over the years as well, and that will only bring them on.
Hugely, yeah, and we obviously now go into a four team group. Probably would have been nice if it was an open draw and you found out about it later. It probably ruined the excitement a little bit, but that's 3 games. I actually, away from winning the Leinster title, was looking at the opportunity to try and give people games, and that's a huge opportunity just to use your squad, because constantly you're just trying to develop. You don't know who's going to come to the fore over the summer, and that now has given us that opportunity. But look, all to play for now.
Mick, just looking at the first half in particular, anybody who hasn't seen Meath play before, it was like a throwback to the blanket defence when Donegal introduced it. For your side, particularly, it was all about patience.
Yeah, and I look back to this time last year, and I thought we took it on the chin, having been beaten. We were beaten by a better team, but it was probably a little bit hurtful afterwards that we didn't pay the respect to me. That wasn't the case. We were going for something very special at that time, and we had, diligently worked as hard as we possibly could, but it's almost impossible to prepare for that system until you play against it. You need to see it, and because you're used to players going at full throttle, and you can't go full throttle into that. All of a sudden you end up finding yourself in trouble or getting put into a mass of bodies or whatever it is. So look, there's things we're learning, there's things we didn't do well. I thought we had a couple of goal chances today we could have been a lot more clinical on, and we didn't execute. And equally, they could have been probably a little bit unlucky. They certainly were in for 1 or 2 scores they normally finish, and they didn't. So that's the way the game goes.
And looking at the officiating today, it was a lot different than the last day out, and it made it a much better spectacle.
And that's the bottom line. Look, we're saying this all along, and it's, even when I'd meet other inter-county managers, this isn't a moaning system. It's for us all. Nobody wants inconsistencies in the game. You train. If you're given a set of rules, you'll train to those set of rules. But then if they're implemented differently, it's almost impossible. It's a huge frustration for the players. And one day it falls for us, another day it falls for Meath. But there has to be a consistency. And realistically, when you look at them again, they're so well conditioned. The fact that somebody bumps into somebody going for the ball, that's not a free. It's not intentional. It's the intentional ones where you're pulling or dragging or any of that stuff. That's the stuff you want stopped. That's the negative side of the game. Or a situation where, you know, you have somebody using 7, 8, 9, 10 steps, only allowed four, but I mean, if you're getting away with 5, grand. It's those rules, getting those simple rules right. That's all.
Okay, thanks, Mick.
Thanks, Mick.
Okay.